This is the introduction to Assignment 3. So Assignment 3 is about types, and the first type we will talk about is decimal. So now that we've got this additional resource, we've decided that decimal is a better way to represent money than we had before. So we want to go back to the purchase price class and improve it so that the implementation uses decimal rather than int. And notice I say implementation. So the interface will be changed, but people that want to continue to use int to represent their money will be allowed to do it. So we've got this installed base of users that uses int, and we don't want to leave them out in the cold. So we're going to improve our implementation, but we're going to keep our interface for int available, as well as adding to the interface so that people can use decimal. So that's why we're talking about not removing the int part, but just changing the implementation. So once you've done that, you can then rebuild your vending machine, but for the most part, your vending machine does not have to change. There are two possibilities. You can either change to take advantage of purchase price or just leave it as it is, and depending on your situation, one of those might make more sense than the other. For the next exercise, we're going to use enumerations, and some people, for whatever reason, have a lot of trouble figuring out enumerations. So if you're one of those people, you can go ahead and just use strings and ints and numeric literals. This will make the code a little bit different than the supplied solution. It'll also make it quite a bit easier. But if you're having trouble with figuring out where enumerations fit in, you can make that simplification. On the other hand, exercise 3.2 is going to use that enumeration. So here's the enumeration, and it just represents the kinds of flavor that we can have in our vending machine. And to show you how you might use that enumeration, here's a very simple class called can. All right, so you're being given all the code in the class. It's very simple. It's really just showing us how we could make use of the enumeration flavor inside of a class. So of course this will change our can rack, and again we don't want to remove the interface part of the can rack that allows people to use strings, but we would like to have the option of using the improvement of enumeration. So we will add a method to our class that takes as a parameter a flavor thing as opposed to simply a string. And of course, now you need to implement that in CanRack. And this will also be true of remove a can of and is full and the other methods that take a flavor as a parameter. So then you've got some new functionality, and once again you have to ask yourself whether or not that would be something that you would want to replace in your main, or just go ahead and go with the old functionality. So once you've done those modifications, make use of them in your main method, or that is to say your vending machine. Now optionally we have exercise 3.3, and this is a little bit more coding with enumerations. So we're going to create a class that represents coins. And as we've done a couple of times before, I'm giving you the skeleton of that class so you can see the public part of it. So what you need to do is add an implementation for this class. Now one thing I want you to notice is this is a new console application. It is not part of your vending machine at this point. Later we will integrate this into our vending machine, but for right now this is a totally separate project that doesn't connect with purchase price or CanRack or some of the other stuff that we've created. And that's the introduction to Assignment 3.